I'm Aaron from PhoneDog.com, and we've been reviewing a lot of Android phones this year. We've reviewed 4G LTE phones, mid-range phones, high-end phones, and more. But the Mac Daddy is in the house. Let's take a look at the Samsung Galaxy Nexus and the full review, which starts right now. So yeah, it's not on Verizon just yet, but finally, the Galaxy Nexus is in the United States. Well, there's a caveat, though. You can't buy it from a carrier right now. Like I said, it's coming to Verizon in 4G LTE flavor, but it's not available on anybody else yet. So if you want it, you've got to go to a retailer like ExpansusUSA.com and buy it. Now, right now, at least the last time I looked, it's $749.99. So it's about $800 with shipping and with handling, things like that. It's pretty pricey. So if you have $800 to spend, you want one right now, this is a good device for you if you're an Android fan. If not, hold off, wait for the Galaxy Nexus on Verizon. You can get the subsidized cost, and even the full retail price of that one will be unlocked. But this is the bad boy of the Android line. This is the one that everybody's been waiting for. It's packing a 1.2 gigahertz dual-core TI OMAP processor, a 4.65-inch True HD display, so it's a 720p display with Pentile technology, which we'll talk more about a little bit later. It has a 5-megapixel camera with 1080p HD video recording. It's got a 1,750 milliamp hour battery in the HSPA Plus version. The actual battery in the LTE version will be a little bit bigger. And then it's packing Android 4.0, a stock version of Android 4.0, also known as Ice Cream Sandwich. But first, before we get into the review, I'm going to give some love to Best Buy Mobile. When you go into Best Buy Mobile to get this, when it comes out on Verizon, you'll walk out working. They'll get Ice Cream Sandwich all set up for you to help you configure it, make sure you understand how to use it, so when you walk out the door, you're working. But Ice Cream Sandwich is 4.0, ground-up revision, or at least, to me, it looks kind of like a fusion between gingerbread and honeycomb. It's got some tablet elements to it. First thing you'll notice is the buttons here, the on-screen buttons. No more capacitive or physical buttons below the display. When you turn it off, you'll see the buttons completely go away. So you can see what the lock screen looks like. We'll start actually, since this is entirely new on the software front, we'll start right here. Take a look at the lock screen. So here's what you get. You can see I'm running a T-Mobile SIM card, and if you're curious, the HSPA Plus version supports both T-Mobile and AT&T HSPA Plus band. So regardless of whether you use T-Mobile or AT&T, you're going to get 3G capabilities or 4G capabilities, if you will, on either GSM carrier in the States. So you can see here the lock. When I press and hold it, it gives me the option to go to camera, or I can go to unlock the actual device, and then you can see the network ID just below. Now, almost everything, at least cosmetically, is entirely different. But first, we'll take a look at the menu so you can see what comes pre-installed. And stay tuned for an Ice Cream Sandwich walkthrough that kind of specifically focuses on software, because right now in the review, we'll do a little bit of both software and hardware. But you can see out of the box, Adobe Reader, Amazon Kindle, Code Scanner doesn't come out of the box, but it's synced up from one of my Google accounts, so we'll just say Code Scanner. Google Books. You can see featured apps, which also synced up, but out of the box you do get Google Plus, Latitude, you get Google Messenger, you get Movie Studio, and then let's see what else comes. Videos as well comes pre-installed out of the box. The rest of the apps that I've downloaded are, like I said, AT&T ones that have just synced over from my previous accounts, my Google accounts. So you can see a different look here. You can see the fonts are smoother, and this is one thing I really like about Ice Cream Sandwich. The fonts are refined. I just thought Android kind of looked very developer-y and not quite finished or not quite polished enough in comparison to Windows Phone 7 and in comparison to iOS and even WebOS, at least in the polish department, and it seems like they definitely improved that. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 home screens in stock Ice Cream Sandwich 4.0, Android 4.0, and you can see this is particularly interesting to me that they combined apps and widgets all together. So what you do is you scroll between your apps. So you can see I have 3 pages of apps and watch as it tracks over here, and then I scroll right into widgets, and of course I can access those by clicking either one, but you can see I can access the widgets directly through the apps menu. Now, this is going to be great for people that want something different. I think this is a little bit confusing for consumers, somebody that's coming into a smartphone maybe for the first time, or coming from iOS, coming from an easier to use platform. Kind of having apps and widgets together seems a bit confusing, and when you come out here and you click where you used to click on Android to get to your widgets, it just gives you the option to change the wallpaper, so that's something to keep in mind. But you can change the widgets, and of course you get a direct link to the Android market up there. Now, out of the box, you can see the widgets that come pre-installed. You get some typical Google stuff here, but there are some new ones as well. Analog clocks on here, battery life I installed, bookmarks, books, calendar. You got some contact widgets, some direct dial, direct message, email, Facebook, featured apps, Gmail, and I'll show you the Gmail widget because I actually like it a lot. And they're dynamic widgets, just like Honeycomb. So when I scroll over here, go ahead and put it on that end screen, for example. And we'll do Old Man McTweety. We're going to select the inbox, and then you can see when I come up here, I can customize the size of it if I want to. I can make it the whole screen, but we can just say, let's say we'll make it that size, and then when I click away, it sets it there. Now I can scroll up and down in this widget. It is dynamic, just like Honeycomb, so I can scroll up and down and access an email directly, and it takes me right in to Gmail, into that particular email. So changes all around from the contacts application to the messaging application to Gmail as well. And I do want to spend some time on some of those as well. So let's jump right into messaging and take a look. You can see the difference here, and I've been texting the Captivate Glide. This is another review unit I've been working with, but you can see right out of the gate, you have your start a new message, you can search, and then down here you'll see these little 3 dots. Now this is something that's kind of inconsistent in Ice Cream Sandwich. Check this out. You'll see that it's right here in messaging, but let's say I go to a third-party application like Twitter, you'll see that it appears down here in the bottom beside the other 3 on-screen buttons, back, home, and then open application. So you can see it does appear in different spots depending on the application. Maybe it's confusing for some users. I'm kind of assuming that some of the user interfaces will address that, Sense, TouchWiz, etc. But you can see the messaging app. And before I get into that, take a look at the revised little dock up here at the top. You can see, and I'll bring it into the camera, focus it in, so you can take a look at that. And you can say 3G on right now. I'm on T-Mobile. I'm using a T-Mobile SIM card. Battery indicator, clock, and then you can see what the new notification bar looks like, and I'll bring it back out so you can take a full look. And then you can see new voicemail, for example, and I can scroll. Actually, I can't get rid of this one because I just can't. But anyway, in a usual notification, I could swipe it to the side and get rid of it, or I could press the X right there. And then I have direct access into settings from there, which we'll cover a little bit later in another part of the video. But back to messaging, this is a big change. And for example, phone dog here, I took a picture of myself, and we'll come in here and take a look. This is just a demo number that I was using and just doing some test messages. But you can see some changes up here. I can call, I can attach, and then all these little 3 dots, just like Windows Phone, those 3 dots kind of signify the right click, if you will, kind of the settings. Those other things you don't typically see, or the things you have to press menu to see, are going to be right there. So you can add subject, insert smiley, delete thread, settings, typical messaging stuff. But you can see over here, it's much more of a chat-like interface. You can see I have my picture, so you can see phone dog Aaron wrote here, and then I responded. I did thanks, so I can say, the busy rumor dog played in the snow before doing his homework. Quick brown fox, or the busy rumor dog played in the snow. Quick brown fox is on vacation right now, so we're bringing in the rumor dog for a little while because he's a pretty cool guy too. So the busy rumor dog played in the snow before doing his homework. Now, one thing I kind of found interesting, take a look here, and you can see the transitions. When I do go into landscape mode, you got a nice big 4.65-inch display here, so it's really easy to type on in landscape mode, and you can see that it's curved as well. The whole device is curved, so it makes for an easier feel up against your face. So in terms of ergonomics, it's a very nice device. Actually, one of my favorites after the the Nexus S 4G. I'm thinking Galaxy. I've got Galaxy on the brain, but after the Nexus S 4G, which is also curved, and the Nexus S line. But you can see 4.65-inch display, and then your on-screen buttons move over here to the right, or when I flip it up like this, they'll move over here to the other side of the display. So it does take up some space to have the on-screen buttons. So I'd say you get about 4.3 inches of usable, roughly 4.3 inches of usable screen space. So that's something to keep in mind. But quick and easy to type. I've noticed that the on-screen keyboard on Ice Cream Sandwich appears to be more responsive, and it appears to be, just for me, the gingerbread keyboard had trouble with my typing. It just didn't seem like it worked really well when it came to autocorrect. Total difference over here. I haven't had any problems, or very few problems with hey there, for example. And that's a terrible example, but hey there, how are you doing? Autocorrection, quick and easy, and then of course I can use voice, and I like this. Take a look at how well this works. When I'm talking, it should continue and put the words on the screen even when I'm talking. It doesn't wait for it to end. So you can see it's listening, and obviously, it has some issues. We're going to go ahead and stop that, but it has some issues in terms of the words. But one thing I thought was kind of a neat feature, and somebody pointed this out on Twitter, and I can't remember who it was, or I'd give them credit, but it's pretty cool that instead of waiting till the end of the speech or waiting till the end of your message to transcribe everything, it does it word by word, so you can kind of see what you're talking about. So I can say, hey honey, go home and take the chicken noodle soup and put it on the stove for me when I leave work. Thank you, I love you. So you can see it auto types it out as and see it's actually doing it right now. Silly phone. But you can see, so I can send that, for example, And then we'll go down here and get rid of the keyboard. And then you can see Captivate Glide just lit up with that message. And actually it's probably 3 messages. Ah, I was right. But you can see here you can assign pictures to people. So just a really cool interface, and it looks much better, and it shows out here the name of the person and shows a 5 that we've sent and received 5 messages. So take a look really quickly before we go to part 2. I want to show you the new Contacts application. Totally different here, and you can see kind of a new color scheme, a new look. You've got search, add a contact, and then you've got your settings down here where I can change things around if I wanted to. So we'll take a look, for example, at Phone Dog Aaron. You can see this awful picture of me. You can see Phone Dog Aaron up here, and I can easily back out by doing that, or I can click on the picture and it kind of brings up a screen within the screen, if you will, where I can dial, and if I had more information I can message or do more things directly from that picture. But you can see here mobile, I can send the message, I can make that contact a favorite, I can edit it if I want to, so we can add in some new information. I can say, you know, Phone Dog Aaron's obviously with Phone Dog, and we can go down through here and you can just see some of the improvements. And you know, a lot of it's like this. A lot of this through Ice Cream Sandwich, you know, font improvements, changes to the applications, and more. So we can add another field like address if we wanted to, but I'll spare you the time. But you can have a picture here. Now, one thing I found interesting, when you do bring pictures in from Gmail, or you know, you've had pictures synced before, they usually don't size up well to this display. So everybody that I brought over from my contacts list, the pictures were very grainy and washed out. So that's something to keep in mind. But you've got your favorites list over here. You got your Google stuff over here for Old Man McTweety, and then I have all my contacts down through here, and then of course I can scroll up and down on the side and go directly to an actual number, or an actual letter rather. So you can see here also, this is something I wanted to point out as well. So we've seen back, we've seen home. This is a really nifty on-screen task killer. So you don't have to download Advanced Task Killer. Instead, you can scroll through your running applications here, see what's running, and then all I have to do is swipe to the side and get rid of those. So it's a much more fluid, much more stable, picture of the cat, much more fluid, much more stable version of Android operating system. So you can see here, bam, whoops, try that again. There we go, and it's removed. So much more fluid, much more polished, just seems to be an all-around more stable version. But is it consumer friendly? We just have to find out in part 2.